to cry no more. Oh my Lord. We won't have to cry no more. I tell you we won't, church. We won't have to cry no more.
Hi, and welcome to another production of KISS. That is Keep It Simple, Senorita Senora. Senora, sisters, saints of God, keep it simple. And we have another very good production, a production that you don't want to miss. I hope you have your popcorn and everything already in place and your drinks, because as you leave your chair, you just might miss something. The subject today is community awareness. Community awareness. And the house is full with a very special guest right here from our own community, clergy, leaders in our community. And there, no one better to talk today to other than those that are active in leadership in our community. Starting to my left and your right, we're going to ask Dr. Tawana Hawkins to start and introduce herself, and we move right around the table, and we'll get back and we begin to start with that subject for today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tawana Hawkins. I am in the life-saving business, and I think that's why he refers to me. I am not a doctor, read the fine print, but what I am is a CEO and founder of House of Restoration and Jules Gift, which we provide housing in the community to those suffering that are coming out of our prison systems, that are coming out of our treatment centers, and jails and institutions. We want to be able to provide a strong foundation within the community and provide wraparound services and wrap our arms around them.
My name is Bishop Jim Holmes from God's Way Triune Ministries. Church is located at 4544 Old Troy Pike in Dayton, Ohio, where we minister to the whole person, body, soul, and spirit. And we are in the community working. We are right now actively picking up people from the shelter, an average of 25 to 30 people on Sunday, feeding them breakfast and then sending them away with a lunch so they have a place to go when they have to leave the shelter during the day, so they have a place to go. And we take them all day long and then take them back. We're also in the ministry for the souls, you know, not just to feed them the body, but we're helping out with the souls with the Word of God. And we have some youth ministries that we counsel our youth, and we know that we have a lot of disturbance with our young people committing suicide, so we have a counsel for that we support our youth and try to bring them through those rough areas. And so many other things we're doing in the community, but some major focal points that we're now focusing on building a facility for our elderly. So just a few things. I don't want to take up too much time.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah.
My name is Jody Kraft. I am a certified peer recovery supporter. I am also a house manager at one of Miss Tawana's homes. And I also like to do like volunteer work in the community, and Miss Tawana does that often, and I always join in when she does that.
Hi, good evening. My name is Shondell Preston, case manager coordinator for Goodwill Easter Seal, working in the mental health department. I also have a program myself that I'm unfolding for young men called Apply the Knowledge. Just wanting to give back different resources in regards to folks coming home from prison for reentry, dealing with mental health, and also for the young men and young ladies as well who just kind of find themselves in like a place where they're just stuck in a standstill to where they don't know what they want to do and how they want to approach life going forward. So just try to provide some type of resources, information to help our young people move forward in a positive direction.
Great God, and you know, that's an important thing. And those guests that we have today, the old saying, they said, put your money where your mouth is. Each one of those are actively working in our community. They're for you, and they're working, and those have experienced being helped in the community. The Bible verse that my dear friend had chosen for us today comes from the book of Hebrews, the 10th chapter, 24 through 25. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves. That's the King James Version. You know, a lot of times people misconstrue the word love, and I'm hoping that we come back to really understand the real meaning of love. A lot of times we are sensual and we think, praise God, when the first time we hear the word love, they have misused that word so much that people really don't know what love really is. It's more than an emotion. It goes deeper than just the emotion. The caring, even beyond the call of duty. And you know, and I love it being a minister because God also let us know in his word that he that loveth not knoweth not God. For God is love. So when we get to learn love, then we get to learn God and be the reflection of who he really is. But in our community, I had to say that first because, you know, a lot of times we were so messed up. I look at my distance and say, I love you. Oh, did you hear what she said? He told her, baby, I love you. You hear what he just told her? And so the words that we use, hey, Pastor, I love you. Man, are they gay?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So much has been construed. So just a simple language today that we use today, we have to even introduce people to the English language with the original meaning. Because when we look at the scripture word of God, they get so confused. Is that what it's saying? And so it's all about learning. It's all about getting what? Get an understanding. I'm not going to let you be shut mouth because you know it should be before you know it. Tell me a little bit something. What's going on? What's going on in the community? Either one of you want to jump forward that you see that need to change, or how, or what could we go about to make the change?
I will say one of the things from my, I guess, point of view and perspective in regards to working with young people and also folks coming home from prison reentry, because we get a lot of that through the mental health field and department. A lot of folks just kind of don't know where to go to get services, or don't know where to go to get help, or if they are given a resource, they're almost less likely to even give themselves the opportunity because they automatically think they're not going to get the job if it's a job resource, or if it's something in regards to health insurance or health care or food, whatever the case may be, education. We hear a lot of those requests as well. Folks just automatically are dismissive of seeing themselves getting that opportunity and utilizing it to the best of their ability. So just I think a lot of times self-esteem is key with our folks. Just knowing that, yes, these things are really here for us, for you, and also the people that are to have the tools really want to provide those tools for you in order for you to succeed, in order for you to get, you know, a job or put yourself in a better situation for your family, or start that foundation that you didn't have prior to going to prison, or even if your home structure fell apart. So I think folks need to really understand that when you're provided with these resources, these things are real, and the folks that are employed are there to help, and they're willing to help. Most of us really want to do the best we can for folks, but a lot of times you run into people who just seem not to have the motivation to continue forward or do the paperwork, whatever the case may be.
What do you think maybe something would be in place, the old word they use, nothing ventured, nothing gained?
Absolutely. I think that definitely plays into it.
Okay. And my grandfather's thing he used to always say is, if you don't know something, ask somebody.
And the other part of that scripture also says about encouraging. So love to me is an action word. You know, so with that action, encouraging that person, because like you said, they may not have the motivation to get it, but encouraging them, hey, why don't you try this? Just being there for them and uplifting. So that's a part of my love journey and my language is uplifting another, and that uplifts me. And with that, and I don't look at a person's outside or whatever, I just look at their heart and what their need is. And then if I can help them. And then my thing is making a connection. I think love is also making a connection. So with that connection, I may learn that Bishop Holmes, he may be able to offer food and make that connection, because a lot of people are hurting. And when they're hurting, they may lash out, but it's just because they're in need. And they may be hungry. Here, a lot of times people broke into someone's house and made a sandwich, or they broke in to do something and they just was hungry or trying to get out of the cold. So I think with that, connecting the resources, because I didn't know Bishop Holmes, he does all this wonderful work. And just knowing what he does and the community, they should be giving back to what you do, and I think that's amazing. So with that being said, would you say we have to encourage one another, Bishop? How would we?
That is I think we've looked at it, as Bishop Norton said, we've looked at that word wrong. And we, love is action. It's not sometimes we equate it as a feeling. But if we look at God, he was always doing something. And the purpose he was doing it was for us. He made the earth, he made the light, he made the moon. Everything he did was for us, so it was a motion, something in motion. And so we can't say we love without doing something. We just come from Hawaii and a couple of weeks ago, and they always refer to everybody as family. And whether we realize it or not, we're all part of the same family. So how can I, with the love in my heart, say to my family, and I'm in my house, I'm comfortable, and say to my family, well, you go on and fare as you will. I'm concerned about my family, and we're all part of the same family, whether you realize it or not. And that's the way I view things. That's my brother that's out there on the street, and so if I can help him, I can only do so much. But in the area that God has allowed me to work in, let's help them. There's 650 prospective people that are, going through the cycle every day at the women's shelter, and 200 or so at the men's. And we're there, it's like a springboard. They're not all the same people, but when people come in there, they're in desperate need of something. And so if we could help them get from that place to where they need to be going. And that's what we're trying to do with the food, with the feeding, with the care. And we had a couple of them that was ready to commit suicide, and after we ministered with them, they was much better, and they've gone made productive citizens. So that's what we're hoping that we can achieve. Not everybody is going to be successful at it. We're not going to get everybody, but we're able to reach a few of them. If we're able to reach a few, it's a blessing.
And more of the community. I'm thinking, you doing your part, you're doing your part, you're doing your part. But if all of us did that little part, you doing your part, everyone that does the little part make a whole. Because and sometimes, don't you feel sometimes we expect one person or one source just to do it all?
No, can't do it all.
Definitely.
But they emulate what one is doing and see what you're doing, someone in the community watching now, how can I go about it? How can I help? So a lot of times, even in the church world, sometimes people sit there and say, I don't know what to do. It's almost like saying you can't see the forest for the trees. It's so many things to do if you just think and begin to do just with that little bit. What are some of the ways that you feel in the community that we or everyone can participate? Jody?
Okay, what's the question again?
How others can participate in what we are doing, you're doing, everyone at the table is doing in that community, to make a full circle or even half a circle to start out.
Well, see, that's where, like, I found things difficult, because people don't know how to start, where to go, or what to do. So I think that there needs to be more promotion of like recovery living and stuff. I think there needs to be a lot more homes, and people need to get educated on recovery, because I've been clean for 3 years and 5 months. And before I found Miss Tawana, I didn't know nothing about recovery homes. I didn't even know that really existed. And I have tried to get clean for many years. I didn't know what a peer supporter was. All the resources that I found once I got with her, And by the grace of God, I got with her because it saved my life, to be honest. That's when it's like word of mouth is how I got like all the resources, and then I shared those resources with other people, and that's how a lot of people do find the resources, is word of mouth. Okay. That's like the biggest way to do it. But it's like, it's important, I feel, for more people to continue to reach out there and help those that are struggling, you know, with addiction and mental health, because like, it's an important factor in recovery is having someone there who is going to like help you, lead you to your goals, and believe in you, and know that you are capable of staying in recovery and staying sober and clean. And a lot of people don't have that. I didn't know there was a peer support, someone that would guide me and help me set goals. I never heard of that. And it's like, you know, I step back and I think about how I went to this rehab and I went to this treatment center, and I always would relapse every time, because when I would get done, I was just back out there on my own with nowhere to go. You know, it's just the same old thing. And so that's why I kept messing up. So I think it's great that like everything that she does, you got all that you guys do, because it's, people need that and they don't know that this exists. And that's why I like when stuff like this happens, so people hear about it and they're like, oh, well, I can get this help. And there's a lot of people out there struggling because they don't know what to do. They don't know who to call. They don't know who to turn to. And I just wish there was a way we could just tell the whole world, like, you know, what does exist, because it is possible. Recovery is real. You know?
I think it is for me, it's two parts to it. One, like you said, making sure that the information is readily available, the resources are readily available for the people who are seeking recovery and seeking help. And then the other part is for folks who, like I said, kind of have the mindset of being stagnant or not knowing what they want to do, to say, hey, look at your community. What does your community need help? Or where does your community need some effort or need some bodies to you know, get rid of whatever ails your community? Because there's all kind of things that's going on in the community that needs to be addressed. For me personally, I want to do something more along the lines of prevention with young men and young women, to stop them from getting to the point of addiction and things like that, because a lot of times it is almost an early onset thing where you have it so rough at home at such a young age that you get pulled into something you had no clue about or didn't even want to get involved in, because hey, this is just an outlet. Somebody gives you something or tells you this, hey man, this could be something to get your mind off of things, whatever the case may be. But I want to address the young men and start something along the lines of prevention, to let them know that, hey, before it gets started, to let them know, hey, there's opportunities beyond just what's in front of you and beyond what's just in your neighborhood, you know, the negative things that you see. You got to be able to push through that. And it's difficult, don't get me wrong. Personal experiences have taught me that. But at the same time, if you allow yourself to say, hey, let me continue to stay on the path of positive action, and wanting to make a positive impact with myself, then you start to link yourself with folks who are working in the area of study or area that you want to go into. They'll start to find you, because you'll start to continue to gravitate and stay off the negative path. But we first got to provide the tools and information for our young people to be able to say, hey, this is a better option, or this is a safer option, because a lot of times they turn to the streets because they feel like they don't have any other choice. Yeah. And so you're risking your life to try to make money. Well, you don't have to risk your life to make money. No. There's a million different ways to do that. So we have to get those resources out to our young people.
See, if I had that resource when I was younger, it would have been wonderful.
Absolutely.
Isn't that the answer? But look, out of all the different things, I was wondering in our community, what you feel is the greatest, I don't know, there's a lot of problems, the greatest problem we found in our community today. I know there's so many different avenues being ex-veteran man myself, a lot of military men that come back home find themselves after serving their country on the street.
Yeah.
And down and out, and now they have more programs, but it's so much more, even for the veterans.
Yes,
I know you talk about the guys coming out of prison, and it's so many different groups that I'm aware of, and I guess I have a problem trying to balance the scales on either side of seeing those, or how even sports figures. Now, a lot of people don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. But there are some sports figures that were great in the game, whatever it was, but they got hurt. And they didn't have any type of medical insurance.
Yeah.
We see the superheroes to play on the floor and the football field. We see them when they're doing well.
Yeah.
But when they're not doing, and get hurt, most of those guys don't have medical insurance when they are away from the game. I'm not calling names, but I know people that are out there now because they can get medication, so they start getting street drugs. I'm not justifying for their pain. And one thing becomes from one thing to another in a habit. So what do you see other? I just mentioned a couple. You guys mentioned different. It's so many different areas. The reason
So many.
people out there have fallen through the cracks in our community.
I think mental health plays a big part because when I was younger, we didn't discuss it. You didn't talk about it. You just said something is different about that family down the street. I didn't find out because you didn't hear about ADD or ADHD or none of that stuff. I didn't find out until I was in my 30s and 40s. And we don't address it. We just say, oh, she'll be okay. She just needs to pray.
Well, that's just how he is.
Or that's just how he is. Or you look over it. And now half time we turn our heads because we don't want to address it until something happens. And they say, well, oh, he's suffering or she's suffering. We didn't know, and let us tell you. But we have to take the stigma away, take the shame away, and address it head on, because the only way we can get the help is if we know how to help the person. We can't know how to help you if you don't talk about it. So I think in the family, because what goes on in this home stays in this home, but what if it's hurting your home? What if it's hurting you in your home? And we see a lot of teenagers that run away. We've heard a lot of committing suicide or utilizing drugs. So it's like, what do we do? Because we have to first say, I have a problem. And there's a book that says it's okay to not be okay. You don't have to be okay. There is a pressure and depression that we see a lot of kids, because there's a depression that has to do with success. I'm pressured to be successful, and you'll see some people self-sabotage because they get to a certain point in life, they can't get to that point. It's like they're stuck. And so they end up self-sabotaging because there's something inside that they didn't get healed, or they didn't go seek recovery for, or didn't know someone can love or mentor me through. I need peer support today that understands me, or having a pastor or bishop that can listen to me. Because a lot of times, a lot of kids want to just listen. And I work with kids, and I always just look at them, and they say, well, you don't have to say too many words. I said, no, I just stand there. They'll end up talking to me. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not good with kids, but I don't realize I am, because they're so used to people telling them, when I just come and sit there, I'm listening. And they got someone to listen to them. It's like seeing that 2-year-old, mommy, look at me, mommy, look. They want you to look at me and hear them. So I think if we start listening, one, erase that stigma. Oh, there's something wrong with little Johnny. Well, there is. How can we get Johnny some help young, so when he gets older, he'll know how to cope? So I think reaching out and getting that young age and telling kids they are loved today, and not meaning it, and because we so many people that take advantage of our children, but showing them. That's why I said the action. Because I think when you show, it's not taken as such. Oh, she cares for me, because I might show you need a coat. I've done that, giving kids a coat. Oh, I didn't even know that woman, but they remember me. I remember giving people sandwiches, and they remember, hey, you were that lady that gave me something, and just planting that seed to let them know there is hope. So I think a big part of that is like taking the veil off and planting the seed and being that action.
And so those people in the community that sits around, so they don't have anything to do.
I got plenty for you to do.
That's what I was about to say. I wish the community would get more involved.
Just choose something. I think a lot of folks are scared to take action. I remember my grandmother in the phrase, and I'm not sure if I know she didn't coin it, but each one teach one. I've heard that throughout the course of my childhood, and it applies more today than at any time, because so many of us, we want to wait for the perfect time to do something. There is no perfect time. There's people suffering right now.
Yes.
And if you have an idea, or you think that whatever idea you have can be beneficial to helping your community and the people in that community, then go for it. Because you'll meet the people along the way that you're supposed to be aligned with, and that'll help you achieve that goal. I'm a firm understanding of that. Everything I do is kind of just move on action on my thoughts. If you can achieve, if your mind can conceive it, you can achieve it. That's just how I operate.
Most of us in the African Elders Council, we understand this thing. It takes a whole village to raise one child. And I think Pastor Holmes, when we were coming up, you probably remember the whole neighborhood.
Yes, that's changed.
The whole, literally the whole neighborhood.
Sure.
You act up.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith on the corner know he's gonna get back to home before you got home.
There was always a Mr. Smith, wasn't there? We had a Mr. Smith here. As a matter of fact, he was our principal, and a D.A. Smith. But yeah, everybody was responsible for everybody's children. Everybody, and you couldn't get away. And all of our instructors, all of our teachers, all of our elders, we was all respected to them, because we knew that if we wasn't respectful to them, then we were going to get back to mom or dad. But I just, it's good to know, as you were saying, to know the resources that's available. I was just, when we was at the prisons, I didn't know that she had all these resources for housing. And I began to tell, and she's been connected with one of our members, and they've been talking back, and so we've been getting information from you. She know what we're talking about. Her name was Genty, but it's Benison now. But she's very good. And so the resources, that should be, we need to let the community know where they can come get them. And they, sometimes it's, you've got things that's available right there that's going to help you get into your next section of life, and you don't even know it. But we're making them available to the people right now. Great resources about housing. Money is just there for just to take them if you want to do it. And we've been sharing this with people, and some of the people that come out of the shelter, they have now gotten houses. So I thank God for the resources.
Absolutely.
Like everybody have a different gift. I mean, basically, search to see what you good or what you can help someone at. I may have the gift of gab. I mean, maybe. But how do I use that? My sister asked me, she said, I just don't see how you talk for 2 hours on the phone with someone. Well, what you're talking about, sometimes you have to talk to learn, to hear. Because a lot of times people start out telling you what they think you want to hear. And that just gets you, you want to hear this, you want to hear that. Oh, you're a minister, I'm going to say the right thing. But after a course of time, if they talk long enough, they're going to get tired of telling you that. And then you say, now we're getting somewhere. Because the icebreaker, it takes time. You all know. I know we're in a fast moving, but somebody is there that has to be able to have that gift. Everybody can't do it. Everybody can't do it, but the things that we have, you know what you're able to do. And sometimes it benefits you. It's not always getting the accolade. A lot of times when you do things secretly, presently, because a lot of times that's a big thing. People don't want to be what they call fronted on and put myself out there. The privacy. Don't let me do all the talking, I just do that.
No, I was going to have Jody share, just how important that peer supporter is and what she was able to do just the small amount of time in her field. So, and how important that is. So tell us a little bit about peer supporter so people know what you're talking about.
So excited to even say that I am a peer supporter.
Certified.
Certified, yes, certified. Took that state test and passed. I was blown away when I found out there was peer supporters. I never even heard of a peer supporter, like I had said. But a peer supporter can help reduce the likelihood of somebody relapsing, and we have been there and done that. That's one of the great things about the qualification to be a peer supporter is you have to have
lived experience.
lived experience with addiction and or mental health. And talking to someone who, there's a big difference, you know, talking to someone that has not had lived experiences versus someone who has. And so I can open up and share my story to people and they relate, and then they start to kind of trust you a little more, and you get this bond with them. And I worked at the women's shelter for a little bit, and the when I help someone, like get them into recovery living, you know, refer them there, or wherever it might be that that whatever it is that they need that I can help them with, that helps me too, though, in my recovery as well. So it's like I'm helping others, but then I'm helping myself. But I would, not to go off subject, but you know, a really important thing to me is recovery homes. I really would love to see more of those like you have out there, because there's not a whole lot of good real ones. I'm just going to be honest. But there are good ones out there that are real and who do care, like Miss Tawana House of Restoration. There's just not enough of them, and I would like for like people in the community to understand that we do change and we do recover, and give some more chances for people to open up recovery homes. Because I'm telling you what, this woman saved my life, and I don't care what anyone has to say. If it was not for her, I would not be sitting here right now today. There's not a chance. And like, I was blessed to have gotten that. And that was word of mouth how I met her. Okay. Well, kind of my brother and his mom. They knew her. So, but I just wish there was more people out there like her. And I know that there's people out there that care like you do. And I just wish they would do it. You know?
Just come on and do it.
So the real thing is she is not GMO?
She's amazing. She's a lifesaver, and she cares. This woman right here cares. I know this isn't like all for you, but Miss Lonnie, you do. You care, and your heart's in it, and you're real, and you're passionate about it, as I am passionate about my peers. You know, being a peer supporter, and it makes a difference for those who are struggling out there. They don't have anybody, and they don't have anywhere to go, nowhere to turn. And then, you know.
And creating more. You mentioned earlier.
Needs to be more,
creating more. How do that happen? Do people come to you asking you how they can start their own home? Do the same thing that you're doing? The more, the merrier. I understand you were starting workshops or something, weren't you?
I'm so glad you asked. So just like she said, finding the people that are compassionate, because it really does take compassion. It is not about the money. It is not a group home. You're not going to get paid like a group home. But you're going to have the rewards of saving someone's life, providing protection, the 5 basic needs, heat, water, clothing. I mean, just having those things, just I can eat today. You know, I'm warm today. I have a roof over my head. I can get clothing.
That's huge to us. That's huge to us, to, you know.
And you're not homeless on the street. You know, you can be taken advantage of and scared. I try to make it inviting when people come. I try to make it about them and not about me. So I kind of ask about that person. But I want to start something, and I'm going to have the workshop starting in March. It's going to be called Getting Started. Where do I start? That's exactly what it's called. Getting Started, where do I start? And I want to put that out there, and people that want to learn to find out more information or have homes that they want to open up, I want to see that. I want to see that. I want them to come, and I'm going to broadcast it as wide as I can to people that are interested, and then show them the way, because a lot of times they'll have a resource here and here, but they're not connected. No one shows them how to do it. I want to actually show them. I actually sit on the board for higher recovery housing, so a lot of the laws that you have to know, because you become a landlord. People forget that. You have a tenant now. You have someone you have to care for, so you have to follow those laws as well. So just educating people and letting them know they can do it, open up the community, because guess what? Those people are going to come back one way or another. They're coming back to the community. How would you like them to come? You know?
Do you think there's a stigma out there in the community? Now, I think it's so much that people don't know what they're talking about, but they're giving advice. Why you go to that Goodwill? I mean, it ain't gonna help you. Why you go to that church? Those churches people is not gonna help you over there. The stigma that's out there, that people giving information they don't really know themselves, they don't want to. Then again, maybe they don't want people to receive help because maybe they're benefiting from them maintaining that type of thing. How would we address? How would we get through to those people that are caught up? You know, a lot of times, word of mouth, you said there's some negative word of mouth that goes in the community that keep people from being successful. And all of you all see that in your everyday life. Any particular area you want to address?
I'll give an example of what you just said in regards to negative word of mouth. Like I said, I work with mental health, and a lot of folks get a lot of different information in regards to medication, what therapy looks like, what case management looks like when they're trying to figure out, is the mental health thing worth me even addressing. A lot of our folks, especially young folks, have no interest in being labeled, have no interest in that diagnosis being attached to them, and it may be something they've been dealing with their whole life. A lot of the times we don't realize that these things are hereditary, but as you said before, we don't talk about it in the home, so we don't know that that's been passed down from grandma's side or granddad's side, or dad has been battling these type of things, or mom has been battling this, or I have an aunt that has the same type of symptoms and suffer from the same things that I suffer from. So if you're not getting this kind of health history from your family, then number one, it's going to be scary to you, and then secondly, you don't want anybody, especially an outsider, telling you something's wrong with you and putting a label or some type of diagnosis on you that you don't understand or don't know anything about. So I think a key component is education, educating folks on what the help looks like, whether it's mental health, whether it's recovery homes, whether it's a place to get help for addiction, all of those things, just being educated on what you're battling and how to make these and how to get the resources, the proper resources, in order to get the help and get you back on track. A lot of times it's just not, we just listen to the wrong folks for multiple different reasons. Especially, like I said, when it comes to medication, folks will tell you, they're gonna make you do this, or they'll have you feeling zombie-like and all of these different things, as opposed to just going to try and seek help for themselves, and then seeing what that does for them, rather than taking somebody else's word for what's going on.
That false information.
Yes, sir.
There's so much negative energy in the world today. We just look around everywhere. So much negativity. And because of the spirits that are going out in the world, we're going to have a uphill journey to go. It's always uphill. To do the right thing is always uphill. It's never flowing down. So when you do the right thing, you're going to get people that's going to talk negative. So what I found out in my experience with people, you have to keep doing good. And the good, like you say, they're going to remember what you did. They're going to remember that you gave them a good, nice meal. They're going to remember that you put a coat on them. They're going to remember the person you do that to, they're going to remember.
Yes.
And those people are the ones you're trying to reach. You're not trying to reach those that are talking negative, because they are against you. We got to realize that everybody's not for us. So the devil, he's against us that's doing good. And he tried to do everything he can to stop us from doing good. So if you know that you're doing good in the community, making a good ways, helping people, and I thank God for the mental health, because we do that. We have classes there. You have to first, number one, recognize your health issues.
Absolutely.
If you don't, if you're in denial, no matter what takes place in your life, you can never get to the next level. But I thank God for the teaching and the instructions that we've been getting from our elders way back, and so we stay with that. And so I'm going to keep doing. If it's only one person I'm reaching a year, say, we're going to reach more than that a year. But if it's only one person, then I'm doing good in the community. That's the important thing. So you're going to get negativity. You're going to get people trying to talk you down, talk you out of it. That's the devil's job. But it's my job is to keep continually doing if I'm doing some good, keep doing that, and eventually that's going to make a path where people's going to fall and they're going to start walking.
The thing that grabs people a lot of times when he said mental health, the first thing they might say, I ain't crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
first
when you
thing.
start talking about mental health, does that mean you're crazy? No, that is something that needs to be explained.
Mental health can come in all forms, shapes, and sizes. It could be something from what they call acute diagnosis to where you're dealing with depression, symptoms like that, anxiety, different things like that. Then you go into more severe, persistent mental health things like schizophrenia, bipolar, and some of the more, ones that we most of these folks usually don't get out often, but having severe psychosis, things like that. So mental health comes in all shape and form and sizes, and it can happen to any of us at any given time. A lot of times, mental health is brought on by traumatic life experiences. You may have something that you're going through, whether it's on your job, whether it's in your family. You may have all these things combined and coming at you at one time.
Yes.
That's a lot for a person to handle.
Yes.
And a lot of times, you need that outlet for someone to talk to. It doesn't always have to do with medication or deal with medication. Sometimes it's just getting therapy, getting some coping skills, learning how to handle situations, learning how to navigate what you're dealing with, compartmentalize different things, handling things one at a time, one issue at a time, or even putting things in order, dealing with the things that's most important and most pressing to your life and your situation, and then working your way back. But a lot of times mental health it doesn't take on this shape of crazy. It's just about different things you're dealing with. You may need some help. Maybe it's got you off a little bit. Maybe it's got you down. Maybe it's got you depressed. Maybe what you're dealing with is something so heavy that it takes some counsel from outside, or it takes somebody to kind of point out to you, hey, you battled through things before. Let's get through this one thing at a time, one day at a time, because we all go through things.
Yeah,
So you
and that's
understand why I
okay.
talk truth for us.
Absolutely.
They need,
Absolutely. Because like you said, you got to get them to take the mask off.
Yes.
I think that people, just know that it's okay to get help, or you need to get help.
Right.
It's okay. That's fine. I think more people need to realize that it's okay
And
to get
stress.
help.
And stress. And that's a lot of times,
Yeah.
too. I was
Yeah,
telling somebody
stress.
not long ago. Stress, we know, is the silent killer. That's when I talk to all the people, and I call you doctors. I raise you just more doctors than some of the doctors are, because a lot of times the doctors do not spend as much time with the patient as you guys do. Whether you know it or not, I shouldn't say this, but sometimes the doctors have a certain amount of time they spend with each patient.
Oh, that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
15 minutes you out there, whether they got
That's
an answer or not.
But they're billing for 30. Billing for 30 minutes to an hour.
Extended
That's
visit.
That is standard.
So in the love, when I said the love that you share and the time you spend with these patients, I said, because an old friend of mine, Pastor McQueen, we used to refer to one another, hey, what's going on, doc? What's going on, doctor?
Yeah.
Because you're more qualified to be per much with the work that you do. And the thing is, life is so short. It seems like a long time as you go past 30. When you were 15, you was a boy, you were old 50. That boy was 50 together, it wasn't so bad, And if we look at in terms of life as being that way, but it goes quick, doesn't it? And the thing is, I know a young man that had 3 strokes at 29 years old. So it's not an age factor.
Right.
No.
Because if it's not addressed, that stress can become a medical thing, but if it's not addressed,
Right.
it's a lot of things that go in our community, the mental health, the things in the street. They listen to all of this, I call it pool room counsel.
Yeah.
The guys in the pool room know more about that than you do.
Right.
But he's giving you advice out the public transit. I can stop the bus every time I was driving by. Sometimes I hear people behind me give me some ridiculous advice. And somebody, yeah, you're right. Okay. I said, oh my God. Another person going,
Blind leading the blind.
there it is.
Yeah. I think moving into like what we have new technologies now. Social media is at the grasp of everywhere, and I think several celebrities have come out and admitted they've had some type of mental health. I think that's helping break it, but we still need a little bit more help. Like here, we have a text number. It's text now 7471. You can text HOPE. and that maybe it might appeal to the young kids. So maybe making it appeal to that age group. They like to do this all day. That gets on my nerve. I always say, would you just please call me, because it's going to take me all day to get back with the message, but that's what they're used to. So letting them know, hey, here's some information. Text HOPE now if you're feeling down. And maybe just that in person talking to someone they may be fearing, but they can text them now. They can do the FaceTime counseling. And I think that's wonderful, because that way they can be in the comfort of their home.
Yes.
So I think making the information available and using the social media and the things that we have now, because our tools are changing, because I was doing this with the cameras. We don't have those anymore. So we have real cameras with batteries now, and they can be charged. But just knowing that we have to change with the time, like our churches, our rec centers, our elders may have to be open to, like, we didn't do things that way. But then a kid may not even approach you because they know the elder's going to shun them. But being open to, well, even though we didn't do it that way, but here's what I want to share with you. And just to hear them out, I think that's a big thing. And then the word of mouth, a big thing is my fruit. You'll know the fruit of my service. So I look for the people I help to share. I don't advertise. I don't put a billboard up. Maybe I need to, but I look for the people that are really getting the help they need. I even have people that I've had to discharge. They still refer people to the program because they knew what they had. You know, so changing with time, showing that the different ways to embrace and open up to someone, and just being aware that there's a problem as well. Like I said, we didn't address it then, so I had to find out as I'm older, well, what is PTSD? I thought that was only for military, but not knowing a lot of people are traumatized. Yes. Yeah, I was like,
But this 7471, do I have to dial 937?
You can
or how
text.
does this work?
So you would text 741-741. You would text HOPE.
741 741. That's 6 numbers.
And you text
I need
it.
more, don't I?
No.
6 numbers to get there? Is somebody on the other end?
It's a text message. See, we got to learn. We got new ways. So you just text HOPE to that, and you can talk to someone on the other, or text back and forth. Would help. And then at the end, we're going to have some more resources as well. The Crisis Now hotline as well, make that available. But just letting the younger kids know, you can text for HOPE.
And also, real quick, to kind of piggyback off of something that you said in regards to working with our youth and just providing that support and that village that you said. You mentioned adjusting and changing with the times. I know a quick example, a young man and woman have a baby, and at the start of that, everybody's cheering the kid on and you know, steadily encouraging to walk, encouraging to talk, all throughout adolescence, all throughout his infancy. We got to continue that throughout the course of our young people, teenage years, adolescent years. They need all of that because they're dealing with a time now to where it's unfamiliar to all of us. Number one, we're coming through a pandemic. I've not lived long enough to be through come through a pandemic up until 2020. So things like that, the way the education structure is being set up, the changing of how education is being looked at, everything is kind of up in the air and new. So the ones who have had some experience with some difficult times, addiction, you know, being child of an addict, different things like that, we all have to kind of dig in and look back at our youth and say, hey, how can we help? How can we continue to be a cheering section? How can we continue to root you on to get to your goals? What are your goals? Let me help you develop. Let me help you develop a plan. We have to be that engaged in our young people because right now they're just winging it. And a lot of us were winging it as well, but we had elders, we had grandma, granddad, and you know, like you said, the community to kind of point you in a direction. A lot of these folks don't have that. A lot of times the community is not a community anymore, it's a neighborhood.
It's a division a lot of times, and when they're taking authority, which we should never allow, from the family, from the parents. When we say, okay, now I'll raise your child, okay, dial 911. Everybody was not abusing their children. They were disciplining them, but that is some of the things that worked into our community that even some of the children don't trust their own parents. It's what you call a wedge, a generation type of wedge
Absolutely.
there. And we got to bring that thing back. Even the men and the women in the street. How many men can really? We got a few out there. Thank God. I know we got some out there, but not enough. Men that can talk to other young men and women talk without the competitiveness of being one together. I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I'm crazy. Marlon called me the ghetto bishop, but I don't mind stopping. If there's someone to reach out and hug, oh, they're going to think something going on. I don't care what you think.
Right.
No. We have to get to the place where we're ready to reach someone, regardless of what it may seem like to others. And the stigma, if you understand what I'm saying. Because a lot of times there's so many stigmas there of what they're doing or why they helping me. And it's so much negativeness has been put into the minds and heart. Sometimes, I know my brother years ago, we all, the family pretty much alike, they laugh at us a lot of times. He would help the lady and brought her groceries, and then she got to the place that he had to discipline her children sometimes because their daddy wasn't at home. And they asked him, coming as my wife, she said, what do he want? Do you think he wants something? She said, no, baby, that's just the way they were raised. And you know, a lot of times when you be nice to people, sometimes people take the wrong gift of being friendly and open to them. That's another thing, but we can't let that, what I'm saying,
Absolutely.
as individuals stop us from doing what is right because someone may gender it being something different and different to you. Yes, ma'am. And each one, you got a minute to close it here.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, speaking of kids, as a mother myself, thank you for helping me reunify my family with me. I think there needs to be more places available for those, whether it's recovery, mental health, that can have their children there with them as well. And if they have places like that, and the mother or even the father can have their kids there, and then, you know, that could be where you could step in and help with the kid. Like, it could be a whole little system, but we really need more places out there for parents to be able to have their children with them too.
You know, many times people point at the church. The church has always been the foundation of, we had our first schools in the church. Some of the first medical things taking place in church, the first pastors in the church. But a lot of times people look at the church, but a lot of times, being a bishop, being over some ministers and so forth, other pastors, a lot of times you have parishioners that are constantly putting into it, but the public somehow feel like you ought to drain their treasure to help the whole city. And the parishioners wondering, I've been paying for 30 years and I can't get anything because we're helping the public. So what other things can we do, even to assist churches that are having things, the programs in place? Or organizations like yours, where, and that's something you do in your teaching, isn't it? Showing them finding funds to help. Praise God, because everybody look for the church to do something, but nobody think about the church when they don't have a need. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't going to show you undercover ministers because some of y'all know what I'm talking about.
I want to say real quick, I do have my children come with me to your house. They do come over. I didn't want to make it sound.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying we need more out there. I had to throw that in there real quick.
So in closing, believe me, we already at the end.
Okay.
Each person take about a minute and give us a final closing what you want to say. Look at your camera or whatever and tell from home what the Lord put on your heart right quickly. Come to close, and we make you laugh.
I would just say, from my perspective, for all our young people and adults, has to be a collective effort. Have to work together. Our adults have to be more willing to listen to our young people, their ideas, what they have going on, what they want to do with themselves, and then even if you don't understand it, to a certain extent, we have to encourage and continue to support because they'll find their way. They just right now, you have to be in the phase of wait and see. You can't push your motives and ideas off on our young people because they have their own ideas and they have their own minds and their own ways of thinking and want to do things.
Okay.
I just want to say that for those who aren't struggling with mental health or addiction, please, educate yourselves. So you can be more understanding and it'll be helpful and beneficial to the whole community. And for the parents out there, just remember that our children are always watching.
And I'd say to the viewing audience, we're in a crisis situation with our young people today. When young people that are, 5, 6-year-old contemplating suicide and thinking, have that kind of thought. When I was young, at that age, I was playing Long Range and Tonto. I didn't know nothing about issues of life. But young people are now, they're thinking and they're able to see things that's going on around them and their surroundings, and the fathers are not in the homes to instruct. And I prayed, and we do this every year, we pray that the fathers come back into the home so that they can instruct, kind of teach, lead the family in the right directions. And we're praying for men to come back and be fathers, be husbands. And when you see that, our young people is going to see another perspective. They're not going to be in the streets. We're all family. And we got to come to that conclusion. We got to really understand that we are responsible for each other. We're responsible to each other. And I carry, that's a heavy weight that we need to understand, that we're all part of the same body. And when we really grab that and start to live that, we'll see that, yes, the man down the street with the sign, he's part of me. So I got to help him come along to his best potential in life. It may be, I've had several of them tell me, and I got to slow down, quit. I've had several of them tell me, I'm comfortable out here on the street, at least I can go and come as I will. But we have to still kind of share with them, there is a better way of life. There is a better way where you are helping somebody. Not you just surviving, but you are now being productive in your society. And that's what we all want to get to, is doing something, bringing this, our level of society, our operation, bringing it up to another level. God bless you.
God bless you.
All right. The biggest thing is knowing that we have to be a collective. It's going to take the community, everyone in the community, everyone's point of view, everyone's hands, feet working together, because we have to get back to that community. And it does take a village. I need help all around me. I need someone to wrap their arms around me and help me. So if anyone is suffering today from any type of mental health, any type of crisis, please make sure you are using the text now number 741-741, and you can text the word HOPE and get some help today. We also have the crisis line, 224-CRISIS, if you need help locally. My phone number is 937-265-0028 if you need housing or just need help today. We want to make sure that we are available and open to help everyone within our community, and that's how we're going to survive. So thank you.
You know, and the good book says, he called the old because they know the way, and the young because they're strong. I know how to lift 250 pounds, 300 pounds over my head. I can't do that, but I know how. And that person is strong. You can teach him how to use the strength that he has. Another thing that was beautiful that you were sharing and others shared, the scripture said also, when he has been strengthened, strengthen your brethren. And you have achieved those things. You have been successful. And we all been successful at some level of life. Maybe not the same addiction that we see in the street, but we had some experience with something that we come out of and we excel from. So we strengthen our brethren. And those, though you can't lift 300 pounds anymore, help somebody that has the strength how to. God bless you. Each and every one of you, it's time for you to begin. We have given you a foundation. The old song we used to sing, he laid the foundation. He opened up the way. What more can he do? God bless you. May heaven smile on you is our prayer.